You run a concept test, and the feedback is overwhelmingly positive. Everyone loves the idea, but the moment you start asking them to pay for it, that validation falls apart completely. This matrix shows the root cause of the failure. Corporate innovators constantly conflate stated preference with behavioral commitment. If you look at standard lean startup advice, you are immediately buried in contradictory, overlapping acronyms. Do you build a fake door? Seek an LOI? Run Scamper? We are going to cut through that noise. We'll map the exact sequence of tools required to move an idea from a messy brainstorm to boardroom-ready validation, matching the right test to your specific phase. This pipeline graphic maps out the 3 stages of the innovation lifecycle. We start in phase 1, ideation, where the goal is raw divergence, generating as many options as possible. But if you put a team in a room for an open-floor brainstorm, the loudest or most senior voice usually takes over. The group quietly stops debating and aligns around the safest, most agreeable concept. To fix this, use a technique called brainwriting, or the 6-3-5 method. Everyone writes in parallel and in silence. This simple constraint removes social friction and increases both the volume and variance of ideas. Once you have a high volume of ideas, you have to sort them. Mind mapping takes one central challenge and fans ideas out. Affinity mapping does the exact reverse, clustering scattered ideas back into themes to force a choice. Ideation only works when you deliberately separate the act of expanding your options from the act of deciding on one. Otherwise, your meetings produce a pile of sticky notes and 0 decisions. Once you pick a direction, you move to phase 2, hypothesis. This is where you use qualitative discovery to uncover the customer's actual problems. Early customer discovery interviews are highly effective here. Sitting down with users surfaces rich patterns in their workflow and reveals the specific logic they use to make decisions. But there is a massive blind spot in B2B markets. Teams frequently interview the end user who loves the product while completely ignoring the economic buyer who actually holds the purse strings. Qualitative discovery gives you excellent directional guidance on what you should build. It tells you the pain is real, but it provides absolutely 0 proof of the market size or whether anyone is actually willing to pay to solve it. That brings us to phase 3, validation. At this stage, we stop asking for opinions and start measuring behavioral reality. A common mistake here is borrowing tools built for consumer apps. Running a fake door landing page test to validate a complex B2B enterprise software tool is a recipe for catastrophic failure. B2B enterprise buyers do not purchase complex software through a checkout cart. In a corporate procurement environment, click-through rates are completely meaningless. Instead, you need a high-fidelity B2B alternative, the letter of intent. An LOI requires the prospective customer to agree to commercial price terms before the product exists. Asking for a signature on an LOI forces the customer to put their professional reputation and future budget at stake. That friction simply strips away polite lies. To push the validation even further, use live pricing experiments and paid pilots. These are the ultimate tests, forcing the harsh commercial question of immediate willingness to pay. These high-friction quantitative tests will very often ruin the happy illusions created by your early concept tests, but they are the only way to prove your idea is commercially viable before you pay engineers to build it. Look at this scorecard to see how to apply this to your own projects. The rule across all 3 profiles is simple. The validation method is not neutral. Qualitative tools refine the hypothesis. Quantitative tools test it. For corporate PMs, abandon landing pages. Map out the full buying committee and rely strictly on letters of intent and paid concierge pilots to validate demand. Startup founders should prioritize hard behavioral data. Swiping a credit card on a landing page is vastly more reliable than gathering polite opinions during coffee shop interviews. And for facilitators, ruthlessly separate divergence from convergence. Use brainwriting to generate the ideas and affinity mapping to force the final decision. Matching the precise tool to your specific context is the only way to generate real evidence. That is how you transform an idea from a confident guess into board-ready proof. Look at this scorecard to see how to apply this to your own projects. The rule across all 3 profiles is simple. The validation method is not neutral. Qualitative tools refine the hypothesis. Quantitative tools test it. For corporate PMs, abandon landing pages. Map out the full buying committee and rely strictly on letters of intent and paid concierge pilots to validate demand. Startup founders should prioritize hard behavioral data. Swiping a credit card on a landing page is vastly more reliable than gathering polite opinions during coffee shop interviews. And for facilitators, ruthlessly separate divergence from convergence. Use brainwriting to generate the ideas and affinity mapping to force the final decision. Matching the precise tool to your context is the only way to generate real evidence. That transforms an idea from a guess into board-ready proof.